Good evening and welcome to The Big Story. I am Nupur Talwar Suri. Now, Mumbai was inundated with heavy rainfall today. According to the BMC, some areas in the city received more than 300 mm of rainfall in just 6 hours. The city was left grappling with the after effects of another adverse weather event. In fact, unpredictable weather has become a familiar story across India. Last month, Delhi saw a rain record of 88 years being broken. Extreme heat has seen northern India reel under temperatures that have almost touched 50 degrees Celsius. In some areas, there were reports of having breached 50 degrees. Now, rainfall patterns have also shifted, leading to rural distress. In fact, these extreme weather events are part of climate change that is affecting how we live. Every aspect of our life is being governed by them. The impact is also being felt on our economy, with acute rural distress being reported from several states. To discuss how weather events are impacting the Indian economy, we are now joined by Sunil Kumar Sinha from India Ratings. Good evening, Mr. Sinha. Thank you very much for joining us and speaking to us on this. Now, Mr. Sinha, we just put out visuals from Delhi, Mumbai and Bangalore of how our cities are unable essentially to deal with adverse weather events. They come to absolute standstill, and obviously it causes a lot of economic activity to stop as well. Now, with our lofty ambitions of becoming a $5 trillion economy, these are issues that need to be fixed. What, according to you, is going wrong now?
Well, as you rightly said, that these extreme weather conditions that we are witnessing is part and parcel of the climate change that has become, a reality in the last 1 or 2 decades, much more than what it used to be before that. And there is a concern about that, but the fact remains that most of our cities or metros were never built to withstand these kind of weather conditions, whether extreme heat or extreme, rainfall and so on and so forth. Just to give you a small statistics, there was a study which was done in the year 2018, which has calculated that an increase of 1 degree Celsius temperature, uh, at least in the Indian context, is capable of shaving off 3% of our GDP per annum. And Global Climate Risk Index of 21 estimated that roughly about US dollar 10 billion was shaved off in 2019 just due to climate events. So clearly, these are some of the things which have been tracked by the economists, have been estimated by the economists, but the fact remains that the amount of resources that are required to do the course correction is humongous. So the challenge remains.
Absolutely. Now, as you were saying, the unpredictable weather pattern obviously has also led to a lot of rural distress. And we've seen that in the past few months, at least, being reported from several states in India. That is something also that needs to be tackled. How can we mitigate that? And what are the measures that need to be in place for us to essentially be able to get to our lofty ambitions?
Look, agriculture, I mean, out of the three sectors that we have, the broad sectors, agriculture, industry, and services, we all know that agriculture is the most vulnerable to the climate change or extreme weather conditions, because if there is an extreme heat, then also there is a loss to the crops. If there is, very heavy rain and waterlogging, then also it actually impacts the overall crop production. And in many cases, what we have seen is that even when the crops are harvested, unseasonal rains have damaged the overall output. So clearly, I mean, agriculture is one area which has been facing the vagaries of nature for a long, but the extreme weathers that we are witnessing in the recent, few years have made this challenge even bigger. And there are no easy solution of this whole issue unless and until the climate change is addressed at a global level, at a macro level, because unless and until that is done, I mean, protecting agriculture would be very, very difficult. One way out is, of course, to develop more climate resistance, crops which can withstand both extreme heat and extreme rainfall. But that is a work in progress. Some bit of seeds have been developed, but there is a long way to go, and it is not easy to have these kind of seeds developed for each and every crop or the variety of crop that we grow, and the kind of resources that is required to be invested in developing those. So there it is a long pole. So broadly, the policy framework at the moment is more geared towards the global effort which is being carried out, that how can we restrict the global warming, or how can we restrict the global climate change so that such risks can be somewhat reduced than what we are witnessing now.
Right. Mr. Sinha, we were earlier talking about how smaller countries like Nepal are already budgeting for these weather-related disasters. What is it that India needs to do to deal with this? The union budget is round the corner. Do you think that this is something that needs to be perhaps taken into account? And increasingly, we're going to see more of these weather events.
You are right. I mean, the National Action Plan for Climate Change, NAPCC, was launched in 2008. And since then, there are almost all states have similarly come up with what is called a state level action plan. And state level action plan are aligned to NAPCC. And in turn, NAPCC, which is the National Action Plan on Climate Change, is aligned to the UNFCC. United Nations Climate Change Action Program. So, these efforts are on, and some bit of planning is already going on in terms of what should be set aside as a mitigation for extreme weather condition. But I think there is still a long way to go, what is called adaptation. So some bit of effort has also happened in the budget making process, whereby, not only focusing on mitigation, because mitigation is ex post activity, whereas adaptation is an ex ante activity. So some bit of effort has gone in that direction also. But I think to cut the story short, perhaps the need has now arisen that the entire budget making process needs to be aligned to the challenges which climate risk is posing to us. So, as you rightly said, some of our neighbor like Nepal in 2012 and Bangladesh in 2014 have come out with what is called green budgeting. That means that each and every head of budget, clearly earmarks what is the amount of budget that is going to, be allocated for adaptation of the economy towards, changes that climate is throwing upon us. So similarly, in Indian context, the only state that has done is Odisha. So perhaps the time is now to do these kind of green budgeting, not only at the union government level, but at the state level, so that the entire government machinery, right from the day one, is geared towards taking these into account, and not only focused towards mitigation, but also towards adaptation.
All right, Mr. Sinha, appreciate your joining us this evening and taking us through what can be done to deal with these adverse weather events. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Right, also joining us on the broadcast is K.S. Hosalikar. He's a scientist and the head at CRS Pune IMD. Mr. Hosalikar, thank you very much for joining us on the big story this evening. What we are discussing essentially is how unprepared India has been to deal with these adverse weather events. For instance, today, in just 6 hours, Mumbai received about 300 mm of rainfall from 1 at night to 7 in the morning. The city was at a standstill, and it's not just Mumbai. We've seen it in Delhi. We've seen Delhi, break a record of about 88 years of rainfall. Apart from that, extreme heat has been a problem all across North India. What is it that the country can do to prepare for events like this one, so that our lofty ambitions of reaching that $5 trillion economy are not pulled back because of this?
Yeah. To put it in a very short time will be again a big challenge for me, bigger than the climate change challenge. But let me try this way. That let us try to understand a couple of things which my earlier speaker was also addressing. We are in the tropical country, and this type of, the intra-seasonal variability in the tropical country like India is very high. So when you say summer, there will be a lot of time, when there will be certain elements that would be not reflecting the summer, you may feel that it's not summer. Similarly, during monsoon also, same type of things can happen. You'll find that there's a lull in the monsoon. It's like, a couple of days, 2 days back, Mumbai was, Mumbaikars were telling that the temperatures are very high and when the rains will come. And now this is not the first time that Mumbai has received this type of 200 plus or 250 plus millimeter rainfall during the monsoon. There are many, many occasions during the given season, with my experience as it goes, not the 26th July 2005, but there are many, many instances during the given season that the rainfall exceeds 250 millimeter. And interestingly, many times it is not a well spread 24 hours rainfall. It is just in a couple of few hours, between 6 to 8 hours, or sometimes less than that. And though because of that, probably this type of waterlogging or immediate sort of urban flood type of situation that we see. What we do here, yes, probably we need to develop certain things. We already have it. We need to develop the observational network. Number one, Mumbai, we have almost more than 100 rain gauges around Mumbai, Thane, and Navi Mumbai, etc. If you put together, we have a sufficiently very good network. And then, probably we need to have a better modeling scheme, numerical models required, high resolution numerical models are required. And that is, that will tell you about what could be the possibility. The third thing, is, as far as, the early warning system, that whatever is coming need to be disseminated very fast in the real time to all the stakeholders, to all the decision makers, to the general public, to the media, and to everyone in whatever formats, digital formats that we have. And it can be social media. Yeah, it is a social media most of the time. Website, email, SMS, whatever possible, all that is happening as far as the India is concerned and IMD is concerned. What is the challenge here? It's every time, it's not only probably, the precipitation that matter. Sometimes, apart from Mumbai, I'm not just talking about Mumbai, there could be some, there could be something, with the planning of the city. There could be something with, the ground realities on the, in the given city. So this we needs to tackle. And as climate change is posing a lot of challenges, not only in India, but in the other parts of the world also, probably with the warming environment, the type of very, very isolated, very, very short spelled, very high intense rainfall, is becoming now probably the new normal in the, in the given scenario. So we need to have, much better improved urban meteorology system, and we need to take care of the infrastructure that we have, so that it could be it could sustain. So this is what I feel. Yeah, I can answer something more.
Right, Mr. Hosalikar, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast and taking us through the broad things that we can do, perhaps, in terms of mitigating disasters like this one that we see. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, so you're watching The Big Story on NDTV Profit. We were discussing climate challenges that have been thrown in front of us with climate events. Well, it is time for a quick break. On the other side, we have Tamanna In conversation with Anuj Puri, chairman of Anurok, they will be talking about the price surge in the real estate space. Stay tuned.